Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show, episode 104, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul. I'll be your host for this day and week. I am joined by the dynamic duo, or the depressed duo, perhaps, judging by events. It's, of course, Alan Williamson and Christian Martin. How are we doing, lads?
Not too bad, Paul. How are we?
Alan, the only thing that's keeping you going is you're going on holidays soon, but it's not Newcastle that's making you smiling for sure.
Unfortunately.
Well, I'm drinking chamomile tea because I need to calm down. Yeah, I need to get the rage out.
Before we start, congratulations, Paul.
Yes, congratulations, Paul. First class honours. Super journalist.
Yeah,
at the ripe old age of 39, yes, I've managed to graduate from a master's. Happy days.
Fantastic. Well done. Give us sort of like the legitness, our podcast is a bit of a legitness.
A little bit, yeah. Even though I think it was my cousin texted me and said, I've never seen anyone manage to get through an entire master's degree and get a first class honours having drank so many pints throughout the whole thing. So it is what it is.
Man of many talents.
Multitasking. I'm a modern man. So I'm soon to be able to, or unable to say I'm a student anymore. I've really been riding the wave there. So the graduation ceremony is in January, University of Limerick, session on in Limerick, lads. And then after that, it's all over.
Sounds deadly. Let's do it.
Yes. By that point, Newcastle will probably be out of the Champions League, out of all the cups, and we'll be 15th in the league. And there'll be nothing to talk about, nothing to write about, nothing to podcast about.
Top of the league. Bright, lads. Music, be grand.
Hey, that's what I was going to say. Hang on. You've taken it away from me now.
Oh God, Chris, you have a sip of chamomile tea because it's about to get tough. We're in for a ride. We are going to talk about Newcastle United, surprise, folks, but more specifically, following. Well, I mean, first of all, we are a roller coaster club, as we've always have been. But following that Tottenham game, there's a big discussion now about the mentality within the team. We're finally starting to see Eddie Howe rotate as we wanted him to rotate, bringing fresh faces. Starting to see him use the squad that we've built, but we still can't seem to get these results over the line. We're still dropping points and we're still inconsistent. And I think that very much was summed up by that result against Tottenham, a poor Tottenham side. And ahead of Burnley at the weekend, that suddenly has become a very big game indeed. Let's start off. We'll talk about Tottenham briefly, I suppose, but Alan, we were discussing before we hit the big record button that Newcastle, statistically, it's emerging that we have a bit of a problem. Actually, I think it was Ben Spratt on X, who put up a very good tweet. It says, Newcastle keep making the mistake of only playing for 90 minutes of their 90-minute matches. Now, what that means is that if you look at the league position now, it's one of these things where ifs and buts and hindsight and maybe, but if all of Newcastle's games ended on 90 minutes on the button, we would be fifth in the league. However, they don't, as we know. Injury time, VAR, etc. And we're actually, what are we now? 13th, 14th in the league?
14th, yeah.
Obviously, the table, we're recording this during the Man United and West Ham game as well, so the game week isn't over. But that combined with the fact that I believe we have dropped about 11 points from winning positions. And we would be 4, if not 5 points better off having that if we hadn't conceded the goals we have post 90 minutes. So let's circle all of that back to kind of understand, like, do we have a mentality problem? Do we have a concentration problem? Because, Alan, historically, I would have said that we used to be quite good at seeing out games. That is not happening this season.
No, it certainly isn't. I don't really know what it is, because the back line looks so good for 85 minutes of a match and then just seems to fall asunder. And I can't put my finger on it. Like, I'm going to use the second equalizer by Romero on Tuesday night. That was an appalling goal to concede. That overhead kick hit his shin and bounced twice before going into the back of the net. Ramsdale should have saved it. Burn should have cleared it. Shaw should have cleared it. It was just bad all around. It seems to be a thing where we think we're home and hosed and we're not. I don't know what the story is. Something has to give. Something really, really has to give.
Like, the weird thing was that Eddie Howe put on Shar, right? And he went five at the back. like, I mean, maybe it's a mentality thing from the boss. Like, it kind of seemed like he was holding on and wanting to kind of just, let's get the win, let's get the 3 points, let's get out of here, right? Let's hold it. But like, I just kind of felt like that showed the guys on the pitch like that. I know what he's trying to do, don't get me wrong, but it just, why were we just keep going for it? Tottenham were very poor. We had lots of chances. So
right. I'm going to cast your mind back to when we played AC Milan at home in the Champions League, and we went for it. And what happened? We got knocked out of Europe. Yeah, so like this is a damn.
Chukwueze scored twice, and now he plays for Fulham. Yeah, I know
there's it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If you had got the win, it was great tactical genius. Didn't get the win. Why did you do that?
It seemed like he was
a fickle sport.
It seemed like the ball was in the air for like 25 seconds, and he was in slow motion. Like everyone was just staring at him as he set himself up, watched it, did this terrible overhead, frankly, at the shin. But the one thing I found really unusual is that Ramsdale punched it, and it wasn't a very convincing punch, and it kind of flew all over the place like that. But he was catching the ball throughout the game. Just for that instance, it's like as if you were saying about the last 5 minutes, and I don't know what you guys have noticed. It seems like we get into panic mode. Like the lads are panicking. They're flustered. They're not playing normal football. They're just get rid of it quick, panicking. And I don't know where that's come from, how that's seeped in to how we play.
I was trying to establish, like, does anyone look panicked? I mean, they didn't look like they were flustered. It didn't look like, it wasn't like someone was going, oh shit, it looked like it was almost, they were too slow to even look panicked. Because like, I know, like normally for me, it's like, if I see a panicked team or a panicked defense, it's just they're a bit all over the shop and they're like, oh shit, and it's all happening too quick around them. And then suddenly, like, that wasn't even a quick goal. It looked like it was going in slow motion from the moment. And like we can probably, there's a lot of talk about Ramsdale probably, and I think fair enough, he should have done better with the punch. He's gone in with two hands, I think, and he's punched it right up in the air, but it's like the ball has just gone literally vertical. And like, I mean, I'm not going to say Nick Pope would have done this and Ramsdale, but most keepers, I think, would be very disappointed with that punch, with that attempted clearance. That ball needs to get out of the box if you're punching it like that.
Yeah.
It needs to go out left for over the line. It needs to go, it just needs to go anywhere but where it did. Even so, the ball went so high up in the air. I just found myself struggling to understand how, with our height and our aerial dominance, how we didn't manage to clear it. And going back to that element of, were they actually panicked? All I could find myself kind of justifying it with was tired heads, tired brains, tired bodies, tired minds. Now, Cher, obviously not. He's only just on the pitch, but at the same time, he didn't even have a chance to ramp up to the game speed before getting there. And I feel like maybe tiredness came into it across the back four. But for me, it's a little bit of a self-inflicted tiredness because obviously, we were talking about this on the True Faith podcast as well. One of the lads made a very good comment when, halfway through the first half or about 30, 35 minutes in, it looked like the Newcastle, who were usually 1-0 up and sitting back, except we hadn't scored, but we were still sitting back and retreating. And we let Spurs grow into the game, become more confident, start playing the ball, start getting players on the ball, start getting some of their better players doing more with the ball. Kudus being an example, even though I thought Lewis Hall did fairly well against him, to be honest.
Yeah, he did.
They've brought on some subs who didn't do a whole lot, but these are guys who like being on the ball. And we just found ourselves under pressure for an awful lot of that game unnecessarily.
Yeah.
When for me, there was an opportunity after 15, 20 minutes, and even after scoring, but particularly in the first 20 minutes of that half, Spurs were shite. They I have no problem saying that. For that opening 15, 20 minutes, they were terrible, if even the first half an hour. And for me, that's where we talk. I mean, how many times do we use the word ruthless on this podcast? I'm now using the word vicious. Like, there was an opportunity for us to be bastards and be vicious and go, these lads are crap. They're down in the dumps. They've low morale. They've no confidence. They're messing around with the squad all the time. Let's absolutely punish them for this. And it just didn't really happen. I just felt like, even at halftime, I was like, right, we can go up a gear here. And the Bruno change made us go up a gear through Bruno coming on. And he was brilliant. I mean, he changed the game.
Yeah,
he did.
Totally changed.
Not just scoring the goal, but you could just see it. The difference, I think, and Alan, I'd be interested to hear your comments on this, because I know you've had this kind of long-term thought about Tonali versus Bruno in terms of importance to the team. But I think the difference is in the three that we started with, Tonali was obviously very deep. In fact, he was in between the centre-backs at times, which means Miley and Joe Linton need to be on the ball. Now, we know Joe Linton is limited in that context, but also Miley, I think, is more of he's more lateral thinking in terms of like who he's going to, he's going to connect the dots. He's going to do simple passes. Bruno is looking to do something creative, clever, ball progression, forward thinking, front foot. That is Bruno's mindset. And that happened as soon as he came on the pitch.
Yes.
We were missing that.
Yeah.
But and then once we scored, I've thought this is it. But no, again, we just allowed them to just slightly get back into the game and then get a bit more confident. But just on that topic, Alan, look, as I mentioned, with the I don't want to ask you about Bruno versus Tonali. Look, they're both class. But was it a risk not starting Bruno in this game?
Yeah, it clearly was. Like, let's be honest about it. Like, there's no point saying it wasn't a risk. But at the same time, we have all been crying out for changes and a couple of things to happen. We had to do something. And Bruno, Joe Linton, Tonali cannot play 90 minutes for 38 Premier League games and 8 Champions League games and 8. That's just not feasible. So every now and then you're going to have someone coming in and out. And to be able to say, all right, we'll drop Bruno and bring Tonali in, that's some change to be able to make. And then say at halftime, Tonali's picked up a knock, let's bring Bruno on, and he changes the game for us. It's exactly what we wanted. But it's also another game where I really didn't think we needed Joe Linton. I thought he was brilliant. I thought Joe Linton was brilliant. But if we had had Ramsey playing, would it have been a little bit different? Hindsight's 2020. Eddie Howe gets paid the big bucks to make the decisions, so it's all on him and it's all his decision. But would have liked to see Ramsey get a game. I don't know. It clearly did affect us, but I think it affected us in a positive way as well, because we do need to see rotation in that midfield.
Was Ramsey on the bench? Was Ramsey on the bench?
Yeah, Ramsey was on the bench, and that's what I was going to ask you, Christian, because in that word, like when I first saw the lineup, I had no hesitation really. I was like, that's fine. But like as soon as I start to see how we became quite deep, and Tonali became very deep, both defensively because we let Spurs come at us as the half progressed, but obviously he starts picking up the ball, like, and it's a weird dynamic because Ramsdale is getting a little bit more involved. You could see Dan Burn at times trying to bring him more into the game, like, don't be afraid to pass it to Ramsdale because it's not like Pope / Pinocchio legs, as Christian would say. But I started to notice Tonali was just coming very deep to get the ball, and at times was in between the centre backs, even behind them. And when Tonali is that deep, Miley and Joe Linton are there, but they're not as inclined to create or fashion chances, or they don't have the same vision as Bruno, the ability to kind of give that little pinpoint pass, the clever passes. And I found as I watched the game, it almost became like the alternative route we were taking was, let's play a lot of low, hard passes into the feet of Nick Voltemade. Dan Burn did it a few times. Chow did it a few times. And to decent effect. Like Chow gave a very good pass at one point. And even Joe Linton. There was a lot of just low passes going into the feet of Voltemade, him coming deep to link up play. And I think it was tactical. I've not seen us do it as much, but I think it's almost Eddie Howe's attempt to bring Nick Voltemade more into the game. But again, I think that the midfield then started to get bypassed with those passes from centre back to centre forward. And we didn't, I don't want to say we lost the midfield battle, but we didn't control or win it and didn't create from there. And that was the difference that Bruno made when he came on. So for me, I thought that game would have been perfect for Jacob Ramsey to start. Had I known that Sander was going to sit quite deep, in as the 6, because we've seen it in recent weeks that Eddie's been swapping Bruno and Sander a little bit. Had I known that Sander was going to sit very deep, not make as much of an impact in the Spurs half, then I'd be like, lovely. Miley can connect the dots, do a lot of the running. Let's get Ramsey on the ball to create, because that's what Ramsey can do. And he doesn't get a sniff, Christian. He doesn't even play.
I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. Like Alan said again, was this a game that we required Joe Linton to be playing in? I don't think so. Big pitch Tuesday night in St James's Park. Crowd was a bit, they weren't as raucous as they usually are. There was a bit of, frankly, I think there's fatigue in the club, in the crowd and in the team as well. But I did notice like that the intensity of the passing was off the charts. It's like as if instead of Instead of running around doing our Newcastle intensity, chasing, harrying everybody down, we're passing it with intensity. Like, it was furious passing going across the middle of the pitch, even back and forward. I just think that it's very hard to kind of see Joelinton, see Tonali, and see Miley. Again, I thought that was enough to get us 1-up, 2-up by half time against Spurs. They did have chances again. Like, guys, what did we have? 21 shots on goal or something, or 22 shots on goal?
Yeah. And
it's just, I hate to keep labouring the point, but I'm kind of known for it. But we've got to start taking chances. I mean, I know against Everton, the chances
we did it against Everton.
We took our chances.
Yeah.
I thought, all right, he's got them right. The lads get it now. We need to start being more consistent with taking our chances, because it's not like as if we're not taking our chances. It's just then in this game, I just felt like that. Like, it seemed at halftime, those lads couldn't wait to get off and into the dressing room. There seemed to be like a frustration building up. Like, you saw Bruno's interview after the game. He was absolutely apocalyptic. He was so angry, and he was so honest. And I'd say, like, they half killed each other at full time in the dressing room. I'm not surprised there wasn't that many videos on UFC, the channels, the social media channels, because I'd say they killed each other. But I mean, if this is what has to happen, they must be kicking themselves, because, like Bruno said, it feels like a loss. I'm just glad that we got out of it with a draw, if I'm honest, because it was one of those games where I thought, oh no, this is a lot of the guys in the chat when the game was on the Irish Mags chat were thinking, oh my God, this is going to be one of these games where we have 22 chances and we lose 1-0. That kind of a thing. And, one of those horrible games where you don't want to watch football ever again. But there's, again, like, I know we're going to talk about it, but Elanga, again, doesn't look like he knows how to play football. I don't know what version of Elanga we purchased. He was all over the shop.
His best game was against Everton on the previous Saturday.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. He got an assist. He was brilliant, and he then didn't start.
Yeah, but I quite just like I was talking about Ramsey, right? Same thing again. Why didn't Elanga start? I'm not really understanding Eddie Howe's choices. I'm not,
because it's a squad game. You can't, as I just said, you can't just keep playing the same 11 players for 38 games.
No, I know, Al, but he's not getting his game. He played well against Everton. His confidence is up a little bit. Put him on from the start. Give him a chance.
So you drop Jacob Murphy, who's leading our assists this season and is playing very well.
I would have given Elanga had a good game. He must have felt pretty good after it. I would have given him another game on Tuesday night against Spurs at home.
All right, and then what do you do?
There's a good chance he gets the game at the weekend.
Yeah, he will. He'll start against Burnley.
He'll probably play against Burnley,
But if he had started against Everton and Spurs, he wouldn't have started against Burnley.
I don't even. I mean, I think that, and we said this about Elanga even prior to the Everton game. Most of the time we've seen Elanga play is when we've been playing poorly as a club, no, as a squad. But no, it's not an excuse. But I think that when we didn't really play that great in that game. We started well for about 15, 20 minutes. Bruno comes on, makes a big impact, did well for 10 or 15 minutes together. But then we were just letting Spurs get more and more into it. So by the time Elanga's coming in, we actually were against the cosh a little bit. And
so you think it's unfair?
I mean,
put into positions like that.
Not necessarily. I just think there's a bigger picture, I suppose, to look at. And he should be doing. I think he should be doing far better for us, and he was better for Forest. And I think we're not probably utilizing him the right way. And I think there's, as I said to you there, like there was a point where Bruno makes a pass, and I think it's Murphy, and I don't know why Murphy's there. It's on the left hand side. And he really, it's an unbelievable pass into Murphy, like kind of a counter attack.
Oh yeah.
And you're kind of like, oh, you'd love Harvey Barnes on there. But I was also like, Elanga would have been great there because he would have that extra bit of pace.
Yeah.
And just to get him through that chance, and you kind of knew that you just couldn't nearly tell from his body language that Murphy wasn't super comfortable on it. But I think that where we see Elanga thrive is when he gets released, and you need a Bruno, or dare I say it, Fabian Schär, that the passing range to release players like that. That tactic won't work in every game, depending on your opponent. Do I think it could have worked against Spurs? Possibly, because the Spurs wing backs, Destiny Udogie, for example, loves pushing on, loads of space. But I think that's probably why Murphy started to help negate that a little bit. But I think for me, I don't know. I feel like there was a level of ruthlessness we didn't reach. I feel like I think tactically we just didn't get it right.
No.
In terms of just not punishing Spurs
Who's
and
that
all the
on?
weaknesses they have.
Who's that on? That's on the coach, right? That's
Yeah, it has
on
to be.
Eddie, right?
Has to be.
I would think so, yeah, because
Right.
again, you have to be realistic. Like I saw a comment on something that said, guys, let's not freak out. Since when is a draw against Spurs a bad result? Spurs have been a bottom half team for about 18 months now, if not 2 seasons. And yes, we have at times, but like I look at that and go, this is a game we should be winning. At that current version of Spurs, looking at their record, they just got beaten by Fulham at home, I think.
Yeah.
So I like that for me goes out the window. I think that we didn't show that we were going to beat them on the pitch tactically. It looked like we were going to do it through the class of Bruno, the technique, the flicks of Voltemade, and then obviously we've got a very fortunate penalty, which, to be fair, I actually think was a penalty.
I do too.
Often may not have been given.
I wouldn't have given
it. You don't think it was a penalty? No,
absolutely not.
He wasn't even looking at the ball. Not once did he look at that ball.
If Dan Burn didn't put his arm over his shoulder and around his head, there's no one falls over. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
It is, and if it didn't get given, we could easily sit there and go fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I think what turns it for me, there's 2 things that turn it for me, and it's at the very end. So it's a bit of a tussle. They're coming together. Obviously, Byrne is just bigger than him, and he's bigger than everyone. But at the very end, they're both kind of like all over the place, and there's a lot of arms and limbs and whatever. But at the very end, your man is Bentancur. He's wearing a glove, and his glove, his left hand wearing the glove, comes under kind of Byrne's armpit onto his shoulder, and then Bentancur, because like Byrne doesn't push him, so Bentancur actually just pulls back, and he actually pulls Byrne with him. And the second he pulls Byrne, the ball comes fizzing by where Byrne would have been. And I think that's what's pushed him to give the penalty. It was that very last action where your man just goes to the deck. Everything before that was fine. And to be fair, like I thought Anthony Gordon made a big difference when he came on as well. He looked a bit more fired up. We had said it on this pod as well. It was time for him to get dropped. He needs to find that fire in his belly. He needs to have a little bit of a chat with himself. And he came on and he looked fired up, and he made a hell of a lot of running. And Pedro Porro, for me, is a player in my head I've always thought was quite quick. Jeez, he wasn't again. Like Gordon passed him 3 times, I would say.
Oh, he
went from behind ahead of him. I was quite surprised by that. And took the penalty well, to his credit. Obviously, I think that's his first Premier League goal. Alan, were you like me shocked, and maybe the entire fan base, who wanted Nick Voltemade to take the penalty just because he took such a sexy penalty a few weeks ago?
Yeah. Yes and no, but if a player is confident enough to take that ball and put it on the spot, you let them take it. That's be all and end all. And I think Anthony Gordon is our penalty taker, because there was no discussions about it. He picked that ball up. Voltemade walked towards it, but then was told to walk away, and Bruno handed the ball to Anthony Gordon to take that penalty, so he knew who was taking it. It was nailed on. Great penalty as well.
See, I'm just kind of thinking like 2-1 up, right? We kind of think to ourselves, we're a bit lucky getting that penalty, but at least we scored it. Anthony Gordon's on. He's got a goal. Great, right? The lads in the team all looking at each other as they tip off at 2-1. Right, we've got this. This is a perfect Newcastle game. Down the hill, get a third goal, 3-1. Sweet news. Let's go into the showers. Something somewhere, like 4 minutes after we made it 2-1, I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Tottenham looked like an excellent football team. The amount of space they were getting to knock it around. I know they made some good substitutions, right? But I just couldn't believe it. Like, it's like as if, like, the guys just went, 2-1, grand, okay. We're grand. We'll just float back a bit here. Now, is there fatigue, mental and physical fatigue within this team? Did they bust their nuts against Everton, and then they get to like 65 minutes the next game, and they're just mentally and physically fatigued? Like,
I think they busted their nuts against Spurs. I don't think it was Everton. I think, but we were so far ahead of Everton, we actually managed. We were able to kind of drop down the gears. I actually think that we let Spurs come at, like, as a defensive unit, Like there's only like even though I said Spurs were shit. This is a Premier League side. Premier League football is ridiculous. The pace, the quality, and these are like the top 0.3% of football players in the world, like in the planet. So you have to remember that. And they're bringing on Xavi Simons, and they're bringing on Matthews Tell, and they're bringing on Richarlison, who is a dickhead, but is still quite effective as a striker. And I just felt like they kept coming at us, and they came at us enough for us to be a little bit like getting beaten down. And I think that combined, and this is where it comes back, we'll circle back to the mentality issue. These players know, like they're no strangers to the fact that we have conceded goals in injury time repeatedly this season. They're no strangers to the fact that we have dropped points, that we have, I don't want to say thrown away points, but like we should be way further ahead. Like I think I was listening to a podcast, and I think it might have been Pod on the Tyne. Fair play to them. They won the FSA Club Podcast of the Year as well. Props to Pod on the Tyne. And I think it was George or Chris saying even those few points, the 4 or 5 points difference that we've conceded in that injury time, we'd be 5th in the league. That's how close the league is right now. Jesus. And my point is, like, and you know, Alan made a good point earlier. It's like, what did you say? If your aunt had wheels, what was the phrase?
My auntie had wheels, she'd be a bike.
Yeah, like.
Well, look at Villa. Look at Villa. Villa have been playing like quite poorly. They've gone on a couple of a good run, and they're third.
Yeah, and I think
the
that's
best team to look at for that.
Yeah.
Look at Liverpool. They lost 7 of their last 9 games. And they're still in the hunt for Champions League football. Like usually, if you lose 7 out of 9, you're talking that's relegation form. They're still 6th or 7th or something mental. Like it's so tight. Anyone can beat anyone this year. So win 3 or 4 matches in a row, and you're right up there in terms of getting into the Champions League. Like it's insane. It's insane.
The Irish Mag Show is proudly sponsored by The Half Volley and FSH Training Limited. The Half Volley provide high-quality, customizable clothing and merchandise catering for all sports teams, businesses, social clubs and events, including, of course, the Irish Mags, with a new range available over on their website, thehalfvolley.com. FSH Training Limited offer a wide variety of training across the fields of fire safety, first aid and manual handling. All of their trainers are frontline emergency service workers with extensive instructing experience, ensuring realistic, professional training. All of their course options and details are available on the website fshtraining.ie. And I think this is where we thought that run was happening now. I think that we thought Man City, Everton, good results, Premier League, 6 points. And look, let's be real. We're not doing terribly, especially compared to last season. You know, there's only a point or 2 in the difference. But it's just that sense of an opportunity missed, an opportunity wasted, points dropped. And we should have came away from that game with 3 points.
That's why I was glad to see the anger from Bruno, because I needed someone in the team to express it and really come out. And like, don't get me wrong, I know they're probably furious with each other. The last couple of times we've dropped points or we've lost games against Brentford, West Ham, so on. But this one felt a lot more intense. They really felt this badly, that this was 2 points dropped. This shouldn't happen at St James's Park. And I'm sure right across the board, the whole lot of them were furious. Like Bruno specifically called out the defence that we have to defend better. Like he wasn't saying anything about the wingers or the midfield or creating chances. He was talking about we have to defend better. I just don't want us to get into a man-red situation when Schmeichel left the club and they couldn't find a goalkeeper for love nor money. And we get into a situation where we can't find the right goalkeeper to allow our defence to be confident. This is what that goalkeeper question keeps coming up. Who should be in goal? The individual mistakes by the goalkeeper. Frankly, now that I've kind of reflected on it a little bit, I kind of feel sorry for Pope, because there has been defense. There has been defense.
Wow,
you have been his biggest critic. You
call him Pinocchio legs.
I just think.
I'm sorry, Krisho. Is there a public apology coming?
I just think that the inconsistencies with the left back, the right back, and one of our centre backs, because Chow is world class.
So you mean like when we're missing Hall and Tino for all those games, etc. Not so much the performance.
The goalkeepers are under a lot more pressure. Our defense are under a lot more pressure. Yeah, because Hall was magnificent again. He was magnificent again. He was really
Hall was great. I think the one thing to remember, granted, Ramsdale has been at the club for what, 4 months now, but that's only his second
start in a
third
row. It's his fourth start overall. Yeah, like you have to give him time to bed into the squad.
Exactly. Yeah, and don't forget the level that these guys are playing at, like of what it takes to be a Premier League goalkeeper. It is insane. In terms of the levels you need to reach. No, I'm not saying he's not without fault. Like I said, for that second goal, he should do better with the clearance, with the punch, and he doesn't. So
I think the one thing on that first, a defender should be. How can Romero bicycle kick that?
There's 3 defenders at fault. There was 3 defenders that could have intervened or got involved there for sure. 100%.
They could have jumped it before he even got.
And the whole thing of Ramsdale having to deal with it. If Ramsdale dives early to go to where the ball goes, and it takes a little nick and goes on the other side, everyone goes, "Why did he dive so early?" It's. I hate giving cop-out answers of there's always it could take a nick, but it's like when one of them crosses from 40 yards goes into the bottom corner and you're going, why did the keeper not know it was going to go there? Because he was expecting a touch, because the ball bounced twice before it went into the back of the net. He thought someone was going to stick a toe to it. It didn't, and it creeped in. It happens. It's shit.
It shouldn't go through that many bodies at that pace, literally slow motion. It just, there's no reason. Like, it just shouldn't happen. It's crazy, especially off his shin. And
look at Wiss's coming back, right? And then they're going to offload Asula with maybe a buyback clause in it. And I think we might be signing somebody in January.
I don't think there's going to be a buyback clause. I was reading a thing today that they don't think Asula's injured. They think he's had it down on tools.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what?
It would be a strange one from a character perspective, and also he has been getting games. Like he hasn't been getting probably much more games than he ever did, but like he also got the chance and he scored against Liverpool, and I don't know.
It's weird.
Why would you do that now?
Maybe it's that the fact that they turned down his move in the summer, and he was expecting more game time, and then they're going, "Why are you playing Gordon up top when you could be playing me, and you're not giving me an opportunity when you could have let me go?" And he's now just going, "You know what? I'm leaving." Yeah. If we get 30 million for him, 20 pack his bags. We won't get.
I think it'll be a good move for him as well. I think we've seen players go and do well over there, and that's a good progressive club as well for him, and give him a chance to go and prove everyone wrong. I would say, because most of us probably would start Gordon up front ahead of him in a big game.
I'd love to sign Bergvall. I'd love to sign that Bergvall fella. He's got his quality, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, in fairness. Great player indeed. Okay, so that's
just one last thing before we move on.
Yeah.
We all would have taken 4 points out of the Everton away and Spurs home game before the games.
Yeah,
there's not one person. Yeah, like so. There's your positive. If you were offered 4 points before playing Everton away and Spurs at home, you would have snapped the hand off him.
And chuck in Man City, why not? And give it 7 points out of 9. Hello, that's actually quite good.
It's not been a bad week. Let's be honest about it. It's not been a bad week.
Yeah, no, and I think as well, it makes it harder to take when we see opportunities being thrown away and missed.
Yeah,
but
that's what it is.
At the same time, we've done quite well in a lot of games. The majority of games we've lost quite narrowly or lost late, and it's frustrating. But they're margins; they're things that can be looked at and improved. Only the odd game here and there where we've been properly trounced or properly shite, and I think there's a lot of positives to take. And never mind the fact that we're still, I don't want to say getting used to it, but we're still in that whole point of 3 games in a week, Champions League, traveling. We're bad enough away in England, never mind having to travel for the Champions League. So there's an awful lot going on, especially when you consider 3 months ago, we just about had a striker in the door and we didn't know who was playing where, and we just lost Isaac, and the whole thing was upside down. So still loads of time, folks. I suppose we're telling. I feel like I'm trying to convince myself and the two of you and all the listeners, but mainly myself. There's still time for things to come good, and I think again it comes back to that click, that rhythm, that little bit of a run. And as we said, the way the league is shaping up right now, and it is a mad old Premier League at the moment. You've got Arsenal kind of out in front now, City not too far behind them, and then a big bunch of teams all within about 5 or 6 points of each other. It is mad. And Sunderland fans enjoy it while it lasts, because it's not going to last long.
Yeah, I read something ridiculous like that. Eddie Howe loses against Sunderland on the 13th. That the owners are We'll be thinking about replacing him in January. And I was thinking that is the stupidest thing I've ever read.
Yeah, no. That makes no sense. I mean, it would be bad because it's our biggest rival, but they're arguably one of the more informed teams in the league, and we're playing them away from home, and we're terrible away from home. If it happens, you'd have to ask questions why. I don't think you can get sacked losing to Sunderland.
They have 8 AFCON players, and I think
none of them will be missing.
None of them will be missing.
It's 15th of December, right? So
they're gone after, yeah.
2 days later, Jesus Christ! And I think Wiska's not going to AFCON, right? He's not.
Not
announced on his own Instagram that he wasn't going by saying he was going to follow the team. So thanks for that, Johan. Hopefully, there's talks we may or may not see him on the bench for Burnley, but you wouldn't know. I think it would be a lovely little morale boost, and it would give us something else to talk about as a fan base, and that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Okay.
Right.
We've got Burnley at the weekend. We know that's a massive, massive game. Burnley, look, one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, free fall.
There's only so much I would spend kind of analyzing the game. I think we all know the story. We should go out and beat Burnley and beat them comfortably. I suppose just a quick question for each of you, kind of like 10, 20-second answer is, what would you do differently against Burnley on Saturday, Alan?
In the nicest possible way, Joe Linton cannot start this game. There's absolutely no need for Joe Linton to be running around kicking Josh Cullen. Josh Cullen is a very decent footballer. He's levels above anything I'll ever be able to do with football. But when it comes to it, he's a very low standard Premier League player. We should have more than enough to beat these. So give Ramsey a start. I'd even go, and Miley can't be dropped either. Miley, I thought was brilliant. So you're talking one of Tonali and Bruno, probably be Bruno.
Tonali might apparently have a little bit of an injury as well, yeah.
So the other thing is, and it's something that I noticed, I know Botman's carrying a bit of a knock. We need Shar instead of Byrne, because Shar gives you that pass, and it stops Tonali or Bruno having to drop in so deep to pick the ball up, because Byrne's great, don't get me wrong, but he's not a passing centre half, whereas Shar and Botman both have a decent pass on them. So if it came to it, I'd play Shar and Chow together, but I don't think he will. So it's a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, can Chow play on the left-hand side? Shar would have to be the right centre-back, wouldn't he?
He's played Shar on the left when the two of them started against Everton, Marseille. Man City. Yeah. It was Share on the left and Chow on the right against Man City, and it does work. I mean, these are centre backs. They can play there. Play there. It's about who's going to be better where. Basically.
I agree with Al on all the points he made. This is a perfect match, redemption match after missing our chances. I won't say. Okay, I will say it again. We need to take our bloody chances because we will get them against Burnley. We need to take them. We need to play Ramsey. We need to be a bit more creative in midfield. I think Miley, Ramsey, and Bruno would be a great midfield. Obviously, Pope's out for 6 weeks. He won't be back until maybe Man Red or somewhere like that, or after. So it's going to be Ramsdale. If we have Tino and Hall on either side, and Gordon and Elanga with Baltamata up front, I think that we could blow away Burnley by half time. I mean, game over essentially, because Burnley are frankly in free fall, absolutely free fall. Hang on. What? Oh, Man Red are 1 up. Oh, man. Oh, man. They're playing West Ham at home, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, they should have.
Callum Wilson. Come on, Callum Wilson.
They should be beating West Ham at home.
But look, I think we'll blow them away. Yeah. Blow them away. 3-0 at half time. Blow them away.
I think we really need to go and approach this in the sense of we need to dominate this game. And not just by scoreline, but like, we need to do what we want with the ball. We need to control the narrative of the game and not find ourselves under any pressure. And I think that's what happened against Spurs. I think it got a little bit into the players' heads about just what would happen if we drop points, if we concede late. Like, we need to eradicate that. And that for me comes from starting, the way we always do. We start like a house on fire, 15 minutes. And you can't, granted, you can't do that solidly for 45 or 90 minutes, but going, okay, even if we haven't scored after 15 minutes, let's play the ball around. Let's start making some clever moves, some triangle passes, and just dictate the fucking play of it. And I think that's where Ramsey comes in and does a really good job. Again, I'm not sure what's going on. The fact that he's gone for Willock, even Miley ahead of him at times.
Yeah.
if Sander was to miss the Burnley game, and let's assume that he might, between knock, rest, whatever, then for me, you kind of have to look at it and go, yeah, is it Bruno, Miley, Ramsey? Then you're like, one of them needs to kind of just sit deep, and probably it's Miley for me. God, I wish we still had Elliot Anderson. Fuck me, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
But I just think that, you need Ramsey to be on the ball, and you need Bruno to be looking forward and not back, and not having to go in deep and get the ball. There's no need for him to do that role anymore. And that's where we saw his game start to evolve and then slightly regress in terms of like where he's playing for Newcastle and what his role is. Okay. One other quick thing, lads, before we talk about meetups for the weekend.
Yeah.
Quiz show. We're going on our holidays.
We are going on our holidays. We're going
to,
we're going to Germany. Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah. We are. The Jolly Boys outing is happening. We are. What are we doing, Christian? We're flying Dublin to Dusseldorf, and then Dusseldorf somehow to Cologne. We might go for a pint to Leverkusen. We don't have a match ticket yet.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of Irish mags travelling. It is an away day of away days.
Massive bunch.
Alan Williamson is a bit down the dumps because he can't make it, but you're going on your own holidays, Alan.
Yeah, I'm off to Lanzarote the next day, so it's a tough one to be upset about. Still, I am jealous.
There's worse ways. There's worse ways of dealing with it.
Look, it's gotta be magnificent. Cologne, Christmas market. It might even be snowing. It'll be wonderful. I don't really want to go out to Leverkusen. It's like a suburb of Cologne. It's like 20 minutes outside. I don't want to go there. There's nothing really happening there. It's
a
like
small place,
old industrial town. Just stay in Cologne, stay in the square, have a right crack. I'll have that 6 by 4 foot bloody Irish mags thing with me, so I'll try and get as many photos as we can. But yeah, early start, 6:40 a.m. flight. Yikes! So a couple of early points for us in the airport.
That's the usual. That's like, I don't know what you're giving out, but that's the usual Newcastle flight.
I know. Like, but
the flight's a little bit longer this time around. We might have to have a few Chardonnays going all the way up.
Get a pint on the plane. It's grand. It's grand.
It is Champions League away. I mean, we won't go into too much detail because we've already previewed Burnley. I don't like getting too far ahead. I'm of the Eddie Howe. Next game is all that matters. Leverkusen, decent side, some good players are on a bit of form. But again, yeah, it's Champions League, and it feels like there'll be a big old contingent of Newcastle fans over for it at the very least. And hopefully there's a bit of momentum coming in after Burnley to go and do a job. And I suppose what I would ask you, lads, is a point a good?
Yes.
Is a point a good result against away to Leverkusen?
Yeah.
Going away from home in the Champions League and not losing is all you ever, not that you want to do, but it's the bare minimum.
You take you take that.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That would do, and we'd be happy with that, I think. And there may be some Irish mags lost across the continent, but drink sensibly and just have a little put your name on your Irish mags.
On your
maybe
your
I got it.
Your address and a return to sender would be helpful, of course. As well. But looking forward to that, and we'll get some great picks and group photos and one or 2 points.
We'll do a little story, will we? Will we do a little story for everybody, Paul? Because we'll be meeting.
I've done that before, and I've done my video diaries on occasion, lads, and it's tough going.
You've done half a video diary, you lying bastard.
I did a relatively full one, and I say that because I closed it by recording myself on the train home, and I was on the way from Newcastle to Edinburgh, and I was in a hoop. But
you were in a hoop.
Chriso, we'll see what kind of mood you have me in when we're flying over on Wednesday.
Right,
I may agree to it.
It'll be a right crack. Right crack.
We'll just keep Tev away from all the cameras and the videos. Yeah. Right, Alan Williamson, this weekend we have Burnley. There is a meetup. Is it just Dublin this weekend for Burnley?
Just Dublin for the for Bleecker Street Bar for the Burnley game so far.
I'll see you down
also
there.
Will probably just be Burnley, just be the Bleecker for the following Wednesday against Leverkusen. But keep an eye on socials for the Sunderland game because we have a minimum of 3 to 4 meetups planned. So keep an eye. And if you want to set one up, get in contact with us and we'll do our best to help you get it set up and get all the Irish mags locked together. It's great crack.
Yes, it is.
Drink sensibly.
But wait a minute. You won't be here, Al, will you? Al's missing the Sunderland game.
Yeah. Do we get to run amok in the Bleecker without Alan supervising? Yes, that's Johnny. We apologize in advance.
I was told I booked a holiday. Oh yeah, grand. When? And she told me the dates, and I went, we play Sunderland that Saturday or Sunday. And I was like, please don't tell me you're at the booking. And she was like, it's booked. And I was like, I don't want to go on my holidays.
You know what's going to happen now, Chris? Alan is going to be sitting there. He'll find a lovely bar who's showing the game. And then in the corner of his eye, he's going to see some red and white stripes. And he's going to have to spend the game in the presence of just one other Mackem in Lanzarote.
Never do that.
I know a Newcastle pub in Lanzarote, so don't worry about it.
Yes.
Nice. I've actually got a 40th birthday party that night, so I can't go that locked, like from the Sunderland match to the 40th.
Shut up.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a ridiculous comment to make. We expect more from you, Chris Show. The game isn't just for 90 minutes. You got to play until the final whistle. As we said. Right, lads. Well, on that bombshell, that brings episode 104 of the Irish Mags Show to a close. Make sure you're checking out all the Irish Mags socials below. Check out theirishmags.com. All the latest photos are up there. We'll be getting all the pics of Burnley, all the pics of Leverkusen, and so on. Take as many as you can. Get them into us as
live
well.
Live podcast in Germany.
Live podcast. We'll be back after the Leverkusen game, so we'll have 2 games to discuss. Hopefully, some points, some pints, and just some better fortunes and better stories to discuss than conceding late goals and being depressed. And we shall see all of you then. Thank you very much for listening, for watching, and dialing in wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you all next week. Alan, Krisho, cheers for joining me.
Good luck.
Away the lads.
Good luck.
On go fall. See you all very soon.
Good luck.